Welcome again to a new week. We thank you all for being here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Smasadi, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, our speaker is not here.
Yeah.
So you want to roll some bhajan for some few minutes, then wait for him a little bit? Let me check on him.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. You're welcome.
Dandavat Pranam. Forgive my little commissioning or mission.
Hare Krishna.
How are you today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, thank you for being here, Prabhuji. And if you're ready, we'll put the verse on the screen and you start speaking.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm ready.
Hare Bol.
Om Ajnantimirandasya Janang Salakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanyam Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Radhanath Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nibisesa Sunyavadi Vasatyai Desatarine Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pradhan Sahagana Dalita Shri Vishakhambitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishobhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanambeyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanyan Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'd like to formally welcome everyone present on the platform and also appreciate the organizers and coordinators of this platform, because we never can exhaust the benefit that is derived by conducting this daily participation in these lessons of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. I also beg to recognize the presence of everybody, and most especially those who are our perceptors and seniors on the platform, and beg that please keep Bindu dear, just give me your mercy that I can diligently execute this service for my own purification and for the benefit of the audience. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naranchayva Nara Uttamam Devin Saraswatim Vyasam Tatudaya Mudirayet Nasa Priya Swagradesu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamas Loke Bhakti Bhavati Nastipihi Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So we are taking our reading today for SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, 2nd Canto, Chapter 5, text number 7. 2nd Canto, Chapter 5 is titled The Cosmic Manifestation. Text number 7. Sabhavam acharad goram yata pasusa mahita dina kedaya sanastvam parasankamcha yachasi sabhavam acharad goram yata pasu samahita Tena kedaya senastvam parasankamcha yachasi sabhavam achara goram yatha pasusa mahita Tena kedaya senastvam parasankamcha yachasi. Word for word transliteration. Saha, he, Bhavan, your good self, Acharat, undertook, Goram, severe, Yatapam, Yatapaha, meditation. So samahita, imperfect discipline. Tena, for that reason, Kidaya say, give Spain na ourselves, Twam, your good self, Para, the ultimate truth, Shankam, doubts, Cha, and Yachasi, giving us a chance. Translation and explanation by Divine Grace, Jagaguru Mahapata Pavan A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagaguru Sapoparti Jai.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Am I audible or no?
Yes, you are. Please.
Translation by Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yet we are moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you when we think of your great austerity in perfect discipline. Although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The following in the footsteps of Sri Narad Muni, one should not blindly accept his spiritual master as God himself. A spiritual master is duly respected on a par with God, but a spiritual master claiming to be God himself should at once be rejected. Narad Muni accepted Brahma as the supreme due to Lord Brahma's wonderful act in creation. But doubts arose in him when he saw that Lord Brahma also worships some superior authority. The supreme is supreme, and he has no worshipable superior. The Ahangraha Pasita, or one who worships himself with the idea of becoming God himself, is misleading. But the intelligent disciple can at once detect that the supreme God does not need to worship anyone, including himself, in order to become God. Ahangraha Pasana may be one of the process of transcendental realization, but the Ahangraha Pasita can never be God himself. No one becomes God by undergoing a process of transcendental realization. Narad Muni thought of Brahmaji as the supreme person, but when he saw Brahmaji engaged in the process of transcendental realization, doubt arose in him. So he wanted to be clearly informed. Mukankaroti wa chalam, pangam longa ya tegirim, ya kripatama hamande, si guru dinatari nam, ya kripatama hamande, Paramananda Madhava, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Ishvaraha. So the text we are reading today resonates with what we do as sadhakas. Sadhakas who do sadhana bhakti. And this text and the preceding text of all the questions that Narad Muni have asked Lord Brahma indicates that there is a need for inquiries, and there is also a need to ascertain who is the supreme absolute truth. The whole of Bhagavatam is configured just to project this. That is why in SRIMAD Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, chapter 3, text 28, it is called the Emperor Sloka for Bhagavatam. Ete Pumsa Kala Pumsa Krishna Tum Bhagwan Swayam. Just to establish the supremacy of Krishna is what the whole concept of Bhagavatam. But to be able to come to this conclusion or understanding, we have to follow some recommended procedure, and that procedure is called sadhana. And sadhana bhakti, from what we are reading now, is sadhana tattva, the truth about sadhana. And once this is known, what does it project for us? Once we know it, which is the goal which we aspire for, then only we'll be knowing why we should do it and what is the process to follow. It said that our knowledge is broken down into 3 segments: Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, Prayogyana Gyan. But Prayogyana is what we should understand first. What do you want to achieve? What is the goal? It is only when you know the goal you want to achieve that you can now know why should you embark on chasing this goal. Once that is done, you now come to the process. It's like when you say 80-20 principles of planning a project. You spend 80% planning. So execution will be very simple and it will be 20%. And your job will be done. But if we follow the other way of wanting to finish with Sambanda, then we come to Abhideya, then we go to Prayojana, it is cumbersome and lengthy. So wisdom involves that we should know what we are chasing first. So in Vedic teaching, there are 4 basic requirements to prove. Once anything is mentioned, whether it is a ritual or a procedure or a practice, a very, very inquisitive, learned scholar will ask, what is the purpose for doing this? Who did this in the past? How did they do it? And what did they achieve in the end? If you get answer for anything to these 4 questions, automatically enthusiasm, impetus will be built to chase the practice or the concept or the instruction. If there's no clarification that nobody has done it before, and the process is not known, the purpose is not known, and the benefit is not known, your enthusiasm or morale may be dampened, and you can jettison it. That is your own volition. But Vedic teaching gives us this parameter that we must ask questions. And when questions are being asked, there's a procedure for asking questions. And I want us to take this very topic or text with some understanding. I will share this from my own point of understanding. The first thing is, when we finish learning this, what do we stand to do by knowing this process? The sadhana tattva. What do you stand to do? Rupa Goswami said, Ado Srada Tata Sadhu Sangota, then there will be Bhajana Kriya. In the beginning, there must be that preliminary desire for self-realization. If that is not there, there will be no impetus to come to Sadhu Sangha. And also there will be no impetus that when you come to Sadhu Sangha, you follow the bhajans and the kriyas. So what Narad Muni and Lord Brahma are teaching us, or Sukadev Goswami actually is one making this referral, also as an example. Parikshit asked a question about creation. That is the link between Parikshit's question and this discussion of Narad Muni and Lord Brahma. This is the link. To answer Parikshit's question, after Sukadev Goswami has prayed, he now told him, I will cite an instance where this kind of question has been asked. So if we see this, he didn't cite it from a human point of view. He cited it from a very exalted point of view. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhurya Lila chapter 17, text number 186. In the end of that very text 186, Mahaprabhu mentioned, Mahajano Yena Gata Sa Panta. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhurya Lila 17, 186. So the understanding of what Sukadev is pointing us to by using the conversation between Lord Brahma and Narad Muni is to make us know the process. That's why this is called sadhana tattva, the process of practice, is the truth about it. So it makes us understand that in all aspects of SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, from the first canto until at least minimum to the 10th canto, there is a regular reference to this very statement. Mahajano yena gata sampanta. And what does it mean? The scripture recommend one should, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality's opinion does not differ from others, is not considered a great sage. Sade Prabhu, I take you for this, because you take this part always. You want to differ with other people's opinion, always. But this is what Mahaprabhu is saying. He is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principle is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastra confirms, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. In a more simple language, he said, we should follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas or the great Mahajans. If you mention about Mahajans, I'm sure like a common understanding that everyone who is studying will know. We have 12 Mahajans. Of the 12 Mahajans, Lord Brahma and Narad Muni are one out of the 12 of them. Am I on point, or I'm speculating?
You are on point.
All right. So if the Narad Muni and Lord Brahma are one of the 12 Mahajans, it means that they are teaching us the right process, the right approach of what to do. So in the mention of others who make up the 12, Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumaras, Swayambhuva Manu, and Yamaraj, Prahlad, and on and on and on, makes up these 12. But at least the point we are focusing on is these 2 people. And the last class I gave, if I remember, I was making reference to ideal speaker and ideal hearers. And I mentioned those who fall in the category of ideal speakers and ideal hearers. But we narrowed down to what Prabhupada said in the purport, Sukadev Goswami being a reference for speaker and Parikshit Maharaj for an inquirer. But in this very text we are reading today, we will also come to see the same recurring situation, that among the people who are ideal hearer, Narad Muni is one. And even though Parikshit Maharaj was glorified when his qualities were mentioned, Narad Muni also adds up to whatever we have known for who will be an ideal hearer. And Lord Brahma also adds up to who should be an ideal speaker. So if we take them one by one, because this subject matter is very elaborate, but I say from my own understanding, I want to share it so that we can all benefit from it. So Narad Muni, from the temperament, the style, the gait, the gesture, he has approached Lord Brahma. Obviously, it is a befitting qualification for anybody who wants to get the right answer. in that purport of Prabhupada's purport to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 34, third Vidi Pranipatina, Prabhupada said that, can you highlight that text so I can pick that very statement from the purport?
Okay.
434, in the purport. The purport, just go down. It's your own famous, favorable quote. Sukat Asade Prabhu. Go to the purport, way down, way down, way down.
Okay.
He said that Prabhupada said there, not only should one hear submissively, no, you skip it. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiry are condemned.
Mhm.
Blind following and absurd inquiry. So if you look at the temperament and mood of Narad Muni, it wasn't just for asking. And he was not willing to follow blindly, because the scenario before him, like he said in the purport that we read, there are two words of reference that are mentioned there in the purport. He said, Aham graho pasita, or the one who worships himself with the idea of becoming God. It means it's a sadhana. And God does not become God because of sadhana. The aham graho pasita, or the worship of with the idea of becoming God, is misleading. But the intelligent I'm having an obstruction on my screen, so I may not pick all. But the intelligent can at once detect that the Supreme God does not need to worship himself to become God. That is what it means by aham graho pasana. There's two different words. One follows it to become, and the other one, ahanga, may be one of the process of transcendental realization. But aham graho pasita can never be God himself. Okay? It may be process for several, but you cannot become God by certain. So when Narad Muni noticed this in Lord Brahma, curiosity aroused in him. And so when we are talking about the qualities of Narad Muni, we can see, and the referrals are there, because of time constraint, we will just give the tips. And if we can give direct reference to them. He said that Narad Muni exhibited quality of discipline. If you read the whole of the life of Narad Muni, from the time he met with the sages during the month of Chaturmasya until now, one good thing, say he was not used to frivolous sports. Means from childhood, Narad Muni was disciplined. Now, in exhibiting devotional quality of a Mahajan, he's teaching us that one should be very dear, priyat mana, very obedient, anuvasrataha, always ready to serve, susru manana, well behaved, sila, meek, prasraya, and sense controlled, dhamma. We can get reference or elaborate explanation about these qualities from SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, 2nd Canto, chapter 9, text number 41. That is for our own private reading. The second quality he spoke about Narad Muni is that Narad Muni is very respectful. And the text we read before today and the one of today is referring that Narad Muni offered obeisance to Brahma First, you offer obeisance. So when we offer or we are trained in Sadhana Bhakti to offer obeisance, which is one of the Navavida Bhakti, 9 process of devotional service, it is what the previous acharyas have laid down, and this is what the Mahajans and all have also laid down that we are following. We are not manufacturing anything new. So Lord Narad Muni, he taught this. Narad Muni was very praiseful. Praiseful. This is one thing I see that is very relevant in the African culture, especially where you have monarchical rule. The king does not wake up in the morning without praises. They praise the king and praise the king and praise the king. The king does not wake up like a gentleman. He bounces out of ecstasy from the bed or his bedstead when the praises have become so much. So one way to get the attention of a very exalted person is by praising. And Narad Muni did that. So in text number 6, which is the text preceding this, Narad Muni did that. And also eager to know the truth. Narad Muni is eager to know the truth. So the respectful one is in 251, and the praisefulness is in 256, the text before this 7. Next one is eager to know the truth. 252, the same chapter we are reading, the same. Asks about the cause of the universe. This is where there is a direct link between the question of Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadev Goswami and Sukadev answering by giving reference to this discussion. Eager to hear about the Lord, desire to know all about the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies. We will get that sequel to the first one we mentioned, 2941, and this will get from 2942. And repeated. He didn't just ask and become mute. He emphasized on his question, received instruction to preach, and preached all over the world. What was he preaching? What he has heard. So there's this English phrase that says, to be a good leader, you must have been a very good follower. And so in this same chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita that we are reading, Mahaprabhu was mentioning that a devotee's behavior establishes the true purpose of religious principle. That is 185. Madhya Lila 17, 185. A devotee's behavior establishes the true principles of the true purpose of religious principle. And Mahaprabhu was mentioned that the behavior of Mahavendra Puri Goswami is the essence of such religious principles. These are reading pleasure that we can take time to relish. And so this establishes the mood, the attitude that Narad Muni taught. And why is he teaching this? So that we can follow Mahajana Yena Gata Sapantam, follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. And Lord Brahma, on the other side, reciprocated this by exhibiting the quality of an ideal speaker. Before you can speak, you must have heard properly. That's why Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 2, Evam parampara praptam, Imam Rajasaye Vidu, Sakala Nehamata, Yogonasa Parantapa, that this supreme science of one's eternal relationship with the Supreme was spoken to me, was spoken to the saintly kings, and they understood it in that way. It was given, and they understood it, and it was given down in the cyclic succession. Now, Lord Brahma did not have to manufacture things of his own, but Lord Brahma presented facts as they are. How he has learned them and how he realized them. Just like when the Sutta Goswami was telling the sages of Nemi Saranya, that when Sukadev Goswami spoke to Parikshit, I was there. I heard him with rapt attention. Now, I will repeat what I heard from him as I heard him and as I have realized it. That's what Lord Brahma is given now. So a speaker must have heard authoritatively and also must have realization to share. That is also the example that Lord Brahma is teaching here as a Mahajan. So Lord Brahma is enlivened by questions. When questions are asked, he is enlivened. Lord Brahma thanks Narad for allowing him to speak about the prowess of the Lord. We can refer this in this same chapter we are reading, 2:5-9. Second Canto, chapter 5, text 9. How after Narad Muni have asked his questions, Lord Brahma now glorified him and thanked him. Sutta Goswami also, after the sages have asked questions, glorified them and thanked them. When Parikshit Maharaj finished asking Sutta Goswami question, he glorified him and thanked him. That these questions are Loka Mangala, is beneficial for the whole world. So Lord Brahma thanked Narad Muni. Lord Brahma is also honest. So if following in the footsteps of Mahajans is imperative, it means also that in our own quest, there must be a very high stake of honesty. He admits that he is not the supreme. 2:5-11. Otherwise, he can fake. Prabhupada in his, I think his Science of Self-Realization said, saints and swindlers, they are everywhere. So people who want to cheat you because some people are gullible and then they take advantage of them. But when we say Mahajan, they don't fall into that category. They present the fact as they are. They bear the truth. Thirdly, destroy false conviction and establishes the truth. Just like he said in Bhagavatam, kicking out all forms of cheating religion. Okay? Here, it destroys false conviction because there are many things we assume that are not reality due to our intuitive likes and our dislike. We assume many things. I was mentioning to my congregation yesterday, I said, people at first sight assume many things about the Hare Krishnas and they draw conclusions from it. But all those conclusions have no basis. It's just figment of their imagination. Somebody came to the temple some few weeks ago, and I gave him direction how to get to the temple. And when he arrived from the vehicle that brought him, he has to ask somebody, one lady, that, please, where is the Hare Krishna temple around here? And the lady just exclaimed, oh, you mean that place where they are doing so many nonsense? When she said that, the guy looked with disdain, disgust. How can such a person speak like this? The lady could read the countenance of the person in his presence. And immediately he tried to cover up that sarcastic statement and said, anyway, go inside here, you will find them. Now, what are the nonsense that they are doing in the temple? They tell you about the science of the soul. They tell you about the science of God. They tell you about devotional service to God. They tell you about love of God. And they present God as a reality. Because of their myopic understanding or ill information, Prabhupada said, due to poor fund of knowledge, they say what the Hare Krishnas are doing is nonsense. When I encounter people and they tell me, please explain what is Hare Krishna to us, I just take it humorously and I said, please, whatever conception you ever had about the Hare Krishnas, simply put, the Hare Krishnas are direct opposite of what your conclusions are. Opposite. They are worshiping, like when we open this center, part of the people in audience say, oh, we hear that they say there are snakes inside this place. Now you people worship snake. I said, if there's something like that, I'm not aware, and our doors are open from 4 a.m. until 9 p.m. in the evening, you can come and search and produce the snake yourself, if there's anyone. These are part of the misconception, but he said, Lord Brahma destroy false conviction and establish the truth. This is what our duty are as devotees. And that is what the Great Commission of Mahaprabhu said. Wherever you go, whomsoever you meet, tell them about Krishna as it is written in Bhagavad Gita and SRIMAD Bhagavatam. This is our work. So that all these misconceptions will be destroyed once and for all. Then number 4, Lord Brahma is subordinate to the Lord. A devotee who has accepted the Guru is supposed to have this very, very character traits. You must be submissive. When he says, Tat Vidi Pranipatena Pranipasena Sevaya, approach one who is bona fide in disciplic succession. Inquire from him submissively. You cannot be submissive if you don't make yourself subordinate. Means, like he said in Desiderata, never compare yourself with others, because always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. So don't compare. But if you tread the path of spirituality, you must accept an authority above you. And Kitananda Swami had taught us in the early days, he said it is safer to take instructions than to give instructions. There's safety. Because if there's a misconduct, you can easily exonerate yourself and make referral. This is the person who instructed me. Your instructor now becomes the person who is put to questions. Why did he give such instruction? You understand? So subordinate to the Lord. Lord Brahma said, I only create after the Lord. He didn't take the glory. Arjuna also, Krishna was telling him, I've already killed all these people. Just make yourself an instrument and take the glory. Lord Brahma, yes, he did, but he's honest by admitting that he only creates after the Lord has. So his creation is what is called secondary creation. We can get reference for this from 2:5, 11, and 12. All these are part of the answer to the questions that Narad Muni have asked earlier. He also shares his own realization. He quoted his own experience to prove that Lord is both material and the effective cause of everything. The Lord, the Supreme Lord, is both the material cause and material and effective cause. We'll get reference and more clarification from 2:6, 23 to 30 of this of the next chapter. And Lord Brahma assures the hearer, my words have never proved to be false because I hold on to the lotus feet of the Lord in my heart. It's just like when Hanuman was questioned about what is his emotion and feeling towards Sitaram. Hanuman tore open his chest to prove that Sita and Ram are always in the core of my heart. And what is what the song of our Vaishnava Acharya sang? Krishna Chetohara, Krishna Duti Paro. Krishna is yours, and you can give Krishna to me because you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot. You give only what you have. So the Mahajans are making us understand that they only repeat what the Lord in the heart has made them to give. And they don't add, they don't subtract. My words have never proved to be false because I hold on to the lotus feet of the Lord in my heart. So when Krishna says, Sabasya Chaham Ridi Sanivisto, Mata Smriti Janapunhamcha, I'm seated in everyone's heart. And from me comes knowledge. Knowledge to remember, knowledge to forget. Both comes from him. So as you want, he gives. So the endeavoring transcendentalists will not hold on to falsity, and he will not speak falsity. He will only speak what the truth the Lord has ministered in his heart. So that is an assurance for the hearer. And Lord Brahma, we can make reference to this in 2634. Lord Brahma is humble. He admits his inability to understand the Lord despite his position. That is why the statement Ahanga Prasana, Ahango Prasana, and Ahango Prasita can never be God himself. He's doing this because he wants to know. Narad Muni here also is asking because he wants to know. And in the second canto, I think text number 10, he says that our life desire should not be for sense gratification because human life is meant for Brahma Jignasa. I like the way that was signed, like solving a jigsaw puzzle, Brahma Jignasa. So you have to probe. That is the work of the devotee. So nobody should, as the man said, the more you know God, the more it looks like you never knew him. So you keep probing, diving deeper and deeper so that you will know more. So Lord Brahma is humble to admit that, and every honest practitioner should also have this quality. We can get reference to this quality of Lord Brahma from 2635. Lord Brahma as a Mahajan is spontaneous. He spontaneously begins discussing Lilavata. What he was asked is about the creation, cause of all causes. Jump into Lilavata because God is doing all of this, both creation, Purusha Avatar, Guna Avatar, Lila Avatar, just to enact unlimited pastime that when you are privy to access them through rapt oral reception, automatically you'll be submerged. You'll be absorbed. So he just spontaneously went into the different activities of the Lord, Lila Avatar. We'll get this from 2646. Lord Brahma was also very surrendered. I better surrender at Lost Lotus feet. 2636. That is the point of safety. So our real independence is that we are surrendered. Surrendering is our real independence. Otherwise, when you want to claim independence, how much independence can you claim? In the purport of Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 7, when he said, Mama Evam Sajiva Loke Jiva Bhutasana, he said, we have all the qualities of God as a Jiva. And one of those qualities is independent, but it is minute, very minute. So what can you claim out of minute? But he says, by misuse of that minute independence, one becomes conditioned. By proper use of this independence, one is eternally liberated. So real independence is hidden, what Krishna said in Gita 1866. Sava Dharma Parityaja, Mamekam Saranam Raja, Aham Tuam Sava Papebyo, Moksha Misyai, Masocha. Abandon all variety of your surrender unto me. That is the real use of our minute independence. To surrender to the Lord. Unless and until we don't do that, we will be conditioned. So Lord Brahma and the Mahajans are teaching these very character traits. I better surrender at the Lord Lotus feet. It's an injunction. You better surrender at the Lord Lotus feet. If you don't do that, in Latin they say, miserere tui. I'm the cause of my problem. You are the cause of your problem. You don't blame nobody. So Lord Brahma, he empowers the disciple. He asks Narad Muni to preach so that devotion arises in people's hearts. So you see, it's like a chain of activity. You hear properly, then you can practice properly, and then you also can be able to benefit all that is due. When they were glorifying Sutta Goswami, they said the spiritual man have bestowed all that is due a very submissive disciple. You benefit. And when you are benefited, you are empowered. Our process is the process of empowerment. When you empower, you become like a powerhouse. Whatever you meet, you ignite it. You become luminous. You light up whatever comes your path. So Lord Brahma empower the disciple. Our process is a process of empowerment. Unless one is empowered, how much of Krishna consciousness can he preach? Prabhupada used to tell his disciples, he said, my spiritual master sent you to me. Means the spiritual master sent the power. And what thrills me most in Prabhupada Lila is that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati sent sannyasis to the UK to preach. And those sannyasis said, it is not possible. He gave them rebate, negotiation. You can wear suit and preach even as sannyasi. They said these people are millennials, they cannot understand. But the empowerment that Prabhupada has, that he carried, Prabhupada did not need to go to the UK himself. Prabhupada sent his Grihastha disciples, not sannyasi disciples, and they made the turnaround of the story. They changed the narratives because they are empowered. The benefit is still there in the UK. We can get reference of this in 2752 and establishes superiority of bhakti. The Mahajan, they do this, there's a special concern that bhakti is the highest thing that exists. Bhakti is actually referred to a hip pocket gift of Krishna. Krishna can give anything through the demigods, but bhakti is in his hip pocket. He doesn't give it frivolously. Why? Once one has bhakti, he can put God under his control. Otherwise, why will Bhamana Dev till today be gate man for Bali in Sutala? Why? Why did Krishna become chariot rider? It's like Uber car rider to Arjun. Huh? Krishna doesn't give it because he knows once I give, I'm sold out. But he says we should assure that bhakti is superior to anything that exists. We'll get reference to this in 27, 47 to 49. Lord Brahma is genuine, non-deceptive in his worship, avyalika ratarita. He is genuine. He doesn't manufacture hocus pocus things. He gives it as it is handed to him. And everybody in that lineage also, they bring it like that. So we can get reference from this from 294. And Lord Brahma is austere and dedicated. Many people think spiritual life is easy going. It is easy, yes, but what makes it easy? Follow in the footsteps of those who have tread the path before. Recently, we were in India and went to Basana Yatra with the Bhaktisiddhanta Damodar Maharaj. And as we were going, many of because the crowd in Basana that day was unbelievable. So many devotees lost their paths in cause of navigating. Some people went the wrong way and they did not catch up with us. And those who were following Maharaj closely, they went through the whole wrong. And then when we came down from the hill, we met those devotees who missed their track. And Maharaj said, follow those who know roads. Follow those who know the way. That's why he said, follow Mahajans, then it will be easy. But if you have to do it on your own, it will be very hectic and very probing and difficult. But Lord Brahma was austere and dedicated. So follow his spiritual master instruction without hesitation. You can get reference to this from 297. 297. And second to the last, Lord Brahma acted as an instrument. Karavyani he apandrita. Same thing Lord Krishna requested Arjuna. Despite his reluctance, he said, these guys have already killed them. When he asked him, what is your mission? Why did you come as Kalarupa? He said, I have come to destroy. Except for you Pandavas, everybody here. You few Pandavas. He didn't say all the Pandavas, few of them. Because many Pandavas also died. Not the 5 called Pandavas. Well, Abhimanyu died. Their 5 children died. They said, few of you Pandavas, others present here will die. Well, he said, make yourself an instrument and take the glory. So Lord Brahma accepted the role of being an instrument. This is a very, very crucial point in our devotional life. Though it may look very Herculean and tasking, but if we just give in, lead on, Lord, lead on, let God lead you. You are just an instrument available. That's why it's mentioned that God is not looking for people who are able. You don't have to be able. You just have to be available. Be there. God will do the right and he will make you capable. He put a cap on your ability, even though you don't have it. But because you were available, it makes you capable. So Lord Brahma made himself an instrument, and every one of us, the clarion call, become an instrument. Empowerment is not exclusively meant for some people. It's for everybody to the degree that you make yourself available. And lastly, Lord Brahma is compassionate. This is the nature you will find in all the Mahajans. Yamaraj, he left his exalted position out of compassion. I'm tired of every day torture, punished, condemned, this. I want to go and preach. It was his cherished desire. So when Mundaka Muni caused him to take birth in the material world, he was happy. Oh, this is my desire fulfilled by God. Compassion. It is this compassion that is the motivating force with which you can really be genuine instruments. Consigned, paraduka duki. You are worried about the misery, the duki of every other living entity. And so those who will be recipients of the blessings of Mahaprabhu, the first thing is they have to be jivadoya, compassionate to all living entities. And namruchi, which is sadhana, namruchi, have taste for depending on God through his name, calling the name, and Vaishnava Seva. 3. You are an eligible candidate for the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So this text, you can read it and understand it from different perspectives and different angles. But the bottom line is, like they say, now that you find love, what are you gonna do with it? Now that you know, what will you do with it? Yes, Naradmuni asked this. Lord Brahma answered like this. At the end, what will you do with it? Follow in the footsteps of the great Mahajans. This is my angle of understanding. That is what I have shared. And that is Sadhana Tattva. I would like to stop here and open up if there are comments, there are corrections. I like chastisements or questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. It's great Ganga Prasad Prabhu. I couldn't catch up with all the quotations you were giving because they were pouring like a heavy downpour from Indraloka. Thank you so much for the elaborate evidences to what you were sharing with us. So at this point, dear devotees, if anyone has questions, comments, realizations, you are free to raise your hand and be asked to unmute. Chastisement is condemned. So even though the speaker requested chastisement, if any, but there is no chastisement.
In the Bible, God said the one he loves, he chastises. That's why I like it.
we don't love you that much. Unfortunately. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I will. See, Prabhuji, in the purport, Prabhupada was talking about these two important words, ahangraho pasita and then ahangraho pasana. Yes. We see, Prabhupada clearly explains in the purport that the Supreme Lord does not need to worship anyone because no one is superior to him. And he does not need to worship even himself to become God. So if someone is worshiping somebody else, it means that person is not God. Now, how do we try to explain this fact to non-devotees that we say, of course, we're not just saying, we know that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, but he was always worshiping somebody else. So how do we tell people? How are we able to help people understand that, okay, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God, even though he's worshiping God? How best do we explain to non-devotees? Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That's a very, very illuminating question. And your reference also is very beautiful. Because the scripture says Mahaprabhu is Twista Akrishna. Is a disguised form of God. He didn't come to show himself as God. And he did that to be able to guide people on the real paths. Why? He came as Krishna. He gave all the lofty philosophy, lofty ideas, but he did not show the process. So to give that process, he disguised himself. Krishna Varna, Twista Krishna, Twista Akrishna. He's Krishna, but he disguised. Recently, when I was in Mayapur, I was watching the Pancha Tattva, and I was amazed. You know, it's such a wonderful feeling. The Pancha Tattva, gigantic deities.
Yeah.
And I was saying in those deities, yes, the word Atwisa is there. Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu appear as who? Advaita Acharya, extreme left, if you face the altar. Nityananda Balaram, there. Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna combined, there. Srivas is Narad Muni, there. And Gadada is Radharani herself. So is there any way you can just sit and point to anybody that this is Vishnu, this is Balaram, this is Radha Krishna? It's not, because already that Leela is a disguised Leela purported to teach something. So if we are explaining, we don't have to, the details will be for our own consumption. And that's why Mahaprabhu make it very simplistic. Just tell them to chant Hare Krishna. Explaining the details of the tattva may not be comprehensible. So in Bhakti Bhagavatam, we are taught that the essence of making people to chant is to clean their heart so that understanding can come. Understanding does not come easily. So Mahaprabhu came to do that. For us to understand the higher truths, we have to become pure in heart. Cheto Dapanama Janam. Clean the heart of all the dust accumulated from hundreds and thousands of years. So we just make them follow the basics. This is what I do. When people normally here, come and ask you many questions. I want money, I want power, I want this, I want that. And when you start patronizing it, there's no end to it. Once you do anything, because our process is potent, give Maha water, it will give results. Give ash from the oil, it will give results. But it is a moderation because they it works more, it can work more. So they keep coming and going, and you are topping the engine oil for your vehicle to move. But don't make it simple. Tell them to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And you save yourself of all inconveniences and save them any hassle. Because that is what Mahaprabhu said. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam. Kalo nasyeva gatiranyata. No other way but by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So I wouldn't know if that makes inway into your question.
I mean, it does. I'll check over as a signer, but I have a follow-up question because the answer you gave, which I wholeheartedly accept, today I'm not differing from whatever you say. Because I truly accept them as you gave. But I've heard quite a many Christians, when I did tell them about the position of Lord Chaitanya, they also told me that is just how Jesus Christ also came. That God also appeared as Jesus Christ at this time to teach people, but Christ is God. Of course, we know that he is a representative, he's not God, just like Sri Prabhupada was saying in this paper, that what Narada Muni is saying is very important, that you do not take the guru as God. But some Christians, quite many actually, believe that God came down in the flesh as Lord Jesus Christ, and therefore Christ is God. How best do we help these people to understand the truth?
Thank you very much. In one of the purports of Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 7, in the proper saying, and in each and every incarnation, it speaks about religion as much as can be understood by particular people under their particular circumstance. Desha Kalapatra, time, place, circumstance. It's an instrument you have in your hands to use. So if you want to break people's head to put what they cannot understand, it's up to you. Even Jesus himself, who did everything, in the end, he said, yet there are many things I want to, but you are not prepared. But what Prabhupada taught us by his own example when he was interviewed by a journalist that said, can you show me God? Prabhupada said, I don't have problem with showing you God. My problem is, will you accept? Because he knows his understanding capacity. And when finally Prabhupada said, Krishna is God, the journalist said, it cannot be. So Prabhupada told him, I already preempted you by telling you, my problem you will not accept. Okay, you don't accept. If you have an alternative, can you present it? This is where the issue arises with Christians. They don't believe that God can come here. So what will you discuss to their understanding about God coming here? They don't believe, they don't accept it. But right there inside the Bible, that's how I catch up with it. In the parable of the vineyard, it mentioned that a vineyard owner, he had tenants, and they revolted not to pay rent. He sent his messengers to go for his rent. They chased the messengers away. And the messengers are referred to as the line of the prophets, as mentioned in the Bible. In his disgust, he sent his son. Maybe they will honor his son better. They killed his son on the grounds that now your father is troubling us. If he die, you will continue the troubling. So let's save ourselves some of this trouble. They eliminate the son. The son represents our Lord Jesus Christ. In frustration, the vineyard owner said, now I will go myself.
Oh, yes.
But there is no record anywhere when he came, how he came, and what he did. But in the whole of the very scripture, we are reading the third chapter of first canto in the temple here now, and we're reading about different incarnations. And it's so amazing. You want to convince a Christian, you tell him that God came as a tortoise, God came as a boa, God came as a fish. I don't know how you are going to do that. So it's just to follow the simple project, make them chant Hare Krishna and save yourself all the trouble. Because they don't believe in the first place. They don't have records of that. But you and I, by providence, like the sage said, we met your lordship out of providential arrangements so that we can accept you as the captain of the boat. So by providence, we are private and lucky that we got these facts. And we are accepting it. It's not that we are being prejudiced or biased. We are accepting it because it's convincing. When we're reading about Kuma Avata, sequel to Kuma Avata, we read about the Avatari, who brought the elixir of immortality. And then the demigods, they snatched it from the demons, snatched it from the demigods. And I said the demigods are gentlemen. They are not rough people. They're thorough gentlemen. They left it for the demon. But because Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala, he came as Mohini Muti. Because he knows that the weakness of the demons is wealth, women, and wine. So he came as Mohini Muti with all the covetous that you can find on a woman. And when the demons behold her, this one is a masterpiece. Whose daughter are you? Where did you come from? You know? And he just told them, I have come so that I can share this elixir to all of you. So you hand it over to me. There was no reluctance. They gave it to her. And she started sharing. And she gave to the demigods. And the demons were bewildered. Did we make a mistake? And two of them shunted and joined the queue of demigods. And they drank before they were beheaded. Rahu and Kitwe. So, you know, these things, he said, it is only unto those who have implicit faith in the spiritual master and Krishna are deep meanings of the scripture revealed to within his heart. It's not by book scholarship. So that's our own good fortune and should take maximum advantage. And for people who are less fortunate or less privileged, we just show them some compassion, give them what can be useful to them. That's why I like the giving of the Mahamantra. I'm so convinced about it. To the extent that don't even give it to anybody personally. Just go out there and face the clouds and chant Hare Krishna, and you surcharge the ether, and people will benefit. So we should have this level of understanding so we don't become too much of gyanis or scholars. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Super, thank you. The parable of the vineyard has always been my favorite reference in this regard. So thank you. Harichakra Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Ganga Prasad Prabhu. Thank you very much. Yeah. In the course of your lecture, you made mention of you referred how Bhaktisiddhanta sent his sannyasis to the West, and they couldn't achieve anything. And Prabhupada sent his Grihastha devotees to the same place, and they achieved everything. And if I heard right, I heard you say that because they were empowered, Prabhupada's disciples were empowered, so they could achieve it. So my question is, does that mean that Bhaktisiddhanta sannyasis, they were not empowered?
Hare Krishna. That's very interesting question. Very nice one. And I'll take you on the narration of the Mahabharata. When Dronacharya finished teaching the Kauravas and the Pandavas, they asked him, what will we give you as Guru Dakshina? Okay? Having been taught, you're empowered. Karna also was taught and empowered. But in the end, the Guru cost him. Dronacharya knew, yes, he has taught them by giving them knowledge. But Duryodhana and his siblings, brothers, they have arrogance. And it is the duty, that's why I say, Agyana Timirandaksya, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge. So Dronacharya, when the Guru said, the Dakshina I want is to bring Draupad here, capture him and bring him here to me. And Dronacharya said, we will go for you. And Guru said, go. Guru already knew they cannot achieve the feat. It's not that they are not blessed, but their capacity is not sufficient. Just like I use the word, make yourself available. Then God will make you able and capable. Though Duryodhana made himself available, but the arrogance and pride and conceit in him did not make him a vessel that can receive. So with his 100 brothers, he went to Draupad, and it was a fierce encounter. But what did he do? He came back like those same sannyasis, that it was not possible. So when, although Arjun had raised objection when the Guru sent Dronacharya and the brothers, Duryodhana and the brothers, and the Guru said, just wait a minute, you will learn the lessons as they unfold. So when they came back without results, the Guru asked Arjun, now you can go. And Arjun went with his 4 other brothers, 5 of them. When they encountered the soldier of Draupad, they said, what 100 people cannot achieve, how do you think is possible for you? What cannot be achieved by number? How do you think few of you can do it? But it was a fierce fight, very fierce battle. You read that portion of the Mahabharata. They fought and fought, it was like frustrating. But because Arjun carries a particular empowerment, Arjun could not break the phalanx of Draupad. But what did he do? He told his chariot rider, drive inch close to the chariot of Draupad. Get close. As soon as he got close, what did Arjun do? It was no longer business as usual. Not bow, not arrow, not anything. Arjun dived out of his chariot, grabbed Draupad, dived back into his chariot and told his chariot rider, move. And all their strong soldiers were weakened at that point. So this is what I can use the example. It's not that those sannyasis were not empowered, but they must have issues like what they say. These people are militias. Mahaprabhu did not come to know who is qualified, who is not qualified. He came to give everybody. But they have a narrow mindset that these people can never. After all, Prabhupada saw that when Prabhupada got admission to study in the West, his father said, Prabhupada cannot go. I don't want my son to serve militias. So Prabhupada did not go. So the same sannyasi have that conclusion. Prabhupada also said the same thing. How can these people understand? In his prayer as when he came to Boston, but he begged God, empower my word to be able to make the difference. So that empowerment is there, but it's just like they preach in the churches. When they talk about unforgiving spirits or unresolved feud, they say it acts like cellophane that blocks divine grace. So we may have some mindset conclusions that will be obstacle or obstruction for the empowerment that we carry. and so he will not achieve the desired results. I said I'm excited by that example. Why? Instead of sannyasis, and instead of Prabhupada himself, who is a sannyasi, he sent his grihastha disciples. It's a mystery. It's a cause for reflection. And they change the narratives. So I don't know if I made any way into your inquiries.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Ashwari Chakraprabhu. We go to His Grace Kavikanapu, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhu, for your wonderful lecture.
Hare Krishna.
There's some few things I just want to say so that you can help us throw more light on them. Number one is regarding the Jesus, and number two is regarding to Prabhu Harishankar's Prabhu's question. Number one, regarding Jesus, yesterday we were discussing with some other devotees, and I was saying that we are very fortunate that the Prabhupada gave us who God is, Krishna. And I was discussing with the devotees and said that the challenge that the Christians are having is because for many years, it's not like for me to show them God, but somehow or the other, they only know Jesus. We didn't show them God because they were not pure enough. So as time goes on, if people cannot comprehend who God is, they now put Jesus on that throne. So it's easy to speak like that. Now many of the Pentecostals, they believe that Jesus is God. And then this is preparing ground for us. At least if they can believe that Jesus is God, that they can believe that God can come here, which is a transition from where they used to think before that God cannot come here. So what do you think about this? And then I will ask the second one.
Thank you very much. It is like asking me a question in my niche. I like these areas of questioning. I have always said, especially on Jamasami, we are celebrating God coming. And they will think we are doing the wrong thing. The Christians, they say that what makes them tick is that Jesus rose from the dead on the third day. Okay? But the Bible straight said, whom the power of God raised from the dead. Not that he raised himself. Power of God. One. Two, what makes us tick is that we talk that God comes here. Not only once, not twice, unlimitedly. It makes us tick. And so, because they don't have much to represent what they say, they create what is mentioned about creating, using their own intuitive like and dislike to produce something. See the example. They are Christians, they read the Bible. In Revelation, John was saying, I see the heavens open, and I see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of God, the Father Almighty. 1 point from the same scripture, but it is the understanding. So I have had those who are contending with this living guru, living acharya, say that part of the problem the Christians have, that they believe in using universal guruship. That is not wrong, but you cannot compare it to having a guru who is tutoring you directly. That is the unique thing in our movement. So they have some theological understanding, but because there's nobody to make it clear to them. That is why you see that the Ethiopian eunuch, he was reading the Bible, but he was not understanding until his Philip came. Philip came and gave him the understanding. So Philip is the position of the guru. Jesus was very pragmatic a preacher. He knew, like I said, Kaladesha Patra, he knew the mentality of the people he was preaching to. So look at the kind of technique he employed. When they told him, Rabbi, teach us how to pray, he could have told them to chant Hare Krishna. But he didn't do. He said, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But it's a great puzzle. Which name? Hallowed be thy name. Which name? When your guru wants to initiate you, what does he ask you? Name. I will chant 16 rounds of my mantra. But Jesus did not give such. He left it like what they say in the West, DIY. Figure it out yourself. Do it yourself. Okay? So because they have to figure it out, there's no lay down process. But Jesus himself said, those who are pure in heart, they shall see God. But each of the time they ask him, show us your father. He said, if you have seen me, you have seen my father. It's that not like circumventing or dodging, but he wasn't dodging. He was being honest to them because he wants to tell them, but they are not prepared. So he gave them the peripheral understanding that they need. So we don't have to say all Christians. We may talk of the modern day Christian, but if you see the ancient practitioners of the way of Christ, people like St. Anthony de Padua, St. Christopher, and St. Francis of Assisi, these are people who have deep understanding and deep devotional realization that St. Francis of Assisi was the son of a wood merchant. You know, they sell Paco. And one day the father kept him in the shop to sell plank. He sold, and all the proceeds, because he has gotten a prophecy or a spiritual counsel that he should have developed an old church. So when he sold, he doesn't have money of his own. He sold, and he took the money he sold that day and went and gave it to the priest where he's supposed to renovate the church. But the priest said, young boy like you, how can you bring this amount of money? I will not accept it. And St. Francis of Assisi took the money and kept it at the window pane and went away. When he got home, the father asked him, where's the money? He said, I use it for the service of my father. The father said, what father? But you know, the next thing, the father took him to court. He was arraigned in court. And when they asked him, where's the money? He said, he used it for the work of his father. And the father said, he should produce the money. So Francis of Assisi said, oh, now I know that the person I felt is my father is not my father. Not only did he say he will bring the money back, he went back to the temple, got the money from the window pane where he left it. He presented it in court, and he removed his clothing that was purchased for him by his father. And he said, so that naked will I walk to my father. Okay? So there are many records of ancient mystic Christians who had a greater understanding than the understanding of today. But you cannot trade it, because what we are having today is conventional understanding. Number. Everybody is going, I should go. Okay? Especially in the environment where they are preaching prosperity. But I tell you also, in that environment where they preach prosperity, there are people who come for fellowship and they don't have money to pay transport to go back home. How do you reconcile that? So in the seeming contradiction that they've replaced Jesus, Jesus cannot replace God. And they replace, they don't have good understanding of God, so they cannot speak about it. That is also true. But in our own understanding, it should not be too bothered about their postulation. We find a way how to help them. That's why I like Krishna consciousness. Give them prasad, give them book, let them go and deal with it. Prabhupada said, what can your 1 minute preaching do? Give them the book, because the Lord in the heart will give the required amount of knowledge of remembrance to anybody who is eligible. Ours is just be the instrument to use. So yes, they have the conceptions. We cannot break that jinx automatically because we are not magicians, but we'll only have to strive so that we can live in peace with every one of them.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. And
just 1 minute. The second point you said about, I said I like this. They say God cannot come here, but I gave the instance of the vineyard owner, and the buttress is that Jesus came here. If they say God comes here, beyond that is that in the Genesis, He said that God used to visit Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden in the evening. So you see that there are seeming contradiction in what they preach and what is in their theology. God comes to see Adam and Eve in the evening. There's no record that Adam and Eve goes to visit God. God is the one who comes. So it is affirmation that God comes here. And Gita says it. Yada yada hida amasya, blanir bhavati bharata. I come when there's increase of irreligion and predominant rise of irreligiosity. At that time I descend. So you can't fault this. But we cannot go to war with them like Nigeria is warming up for encountering Niger. Yes, you can ask your second question. But does that make a leadway into your inquiries?
Yes, Babu, thank you very much, Babu. And Babu, this one you said that Nigeria is warming up. They are not going anywhere.
Kamikanapu, it seems you're quite far away from your mic.
Yes, Babu, I was saying that I said Babu said that they make this joke that Nigeria is warming up to go and meet Nigeria. They said that they cannot sort out themselves. I didn't help somebody. They're just making out. So my second inquiry is about the question Prabhu Arishaka asked regarding Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur sent his disciple to London and they could not do anything. Prabhupada sent his own disciple to London and they achieved everything. So it makes me to be thinking deeper. Also, I was thinking about it when I was analyzing the conversation and Prabhu's question and your answer. That if we look at it analytically, not looking at the spiritual aspect, which is the empowerment, the Prabhupada empower his disciple. Maybe I was just thinking, let me look at it analytically. The Prabhupada did not go to London because he knows that the British, they colonized India. So they may not be eager to listen to them. Maybe that is one of the reasons that the English people were not interested in what the type of Bhakti brought. So Prabhupada went to America, which is a completely a new ground. Because British also, they are the one who colonized America, but it's a completely neutral ground and it's a collection of all different races in the world. So it was easy for Prabhupada to attract those kind of people. Then he now sent those people themselves to meet the English people, which you know that they can reckon with. And because Prabhupada was, I read one place that when the Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur was, they came back, Prabhupada was one of those people who went to welcome them from the airport. They were in the train. And one of the other devotees, they were asking those scientific questions. Prabhupada was just silent among them, and he was taking notes. So I was thinking maybe Prabhupada did this miracle because he applied the intelligence Krishna gave him on how to go about things. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I don't know whether you want to add more light on that. Thank you.
Yes, I thank you for that. It's more of a contribution. You contributed to it. Yes. You are right in a way. And the only thing I'll add is a footnote to what you've said. Prabhupada was predicted as a Senapati, Mera Senapati. Mahaprabhu mentioned, I will send my general. And that general is not everybody, it's somebody. And that somebody is referred to as His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So he had, but Harichakra Prabhu's question is, does it mean that those people are not also empowered? They were empowered, but there must have been some, well, what do you call it? Some considerations that may have acted as an impediment for them to break even. Okay, otherwise, they say when there is grace, there is no disgrace. When there is grace, there is no disgrace. But disgrace can come if you don't prepare yourself well. After all, Prabhupada, when he came to Britain, Europe finally, they asked him, what have you come to do here? Journalists were asking. And Prabhupada said, India colonized and looted India for many years. I mean, the British colonized India and looted them for many years. But they forgot to take one thing. That one thing they left is what I brought to them. There was such a statement also. So I am only adding to what you've said. You are right. Your contribution is valid. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you, Kavikanapur. But I can only speculate that I do not think Srila Prabhupada himself did not go to UK because of how UK colonized India, and as such, they may not accept it. I think it's just a divine arrangement of how Srila Prabhupada had to get things done, not necessarily because of these material considerations. Harichakra Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the examples that Ganga Prabhu has given is very, very convincing. And it actually reinforces whatever notion that I had before, especially concerning the question Sahadev asked about how Christians think that Jesus is God himself. And the examples he has given about the what we call the owner of the vineyard who was it's very, very convincing. But I mean, right in the Bible also, I mean, like Ganga Prabhu was saying that some people, they read it and maybe because they don't even allow the Holy Spirit to give them the, what we call it, the grace, the direction to dive deep into it. So the thing is right there in front of them, black and white, and they don't even see it. Because when you read John chapter 12, from verse 36 to 42, Jesus was explaining, he says, whoever has seen me has seen God. But he did not just say that like that, because he says, because whatever I'm telling you is not coming from me, but the one who has sent me. So if you listen to me, you are not hearing me, but you are hearing the person who sent me. Then he goes further to explain that whoever has seen me has seen the one who sent me. In other words, he was emphasizing that he is a representative of somebody. And because he's representing the person perfectly, then if you hear him, you are hearing that person. If you see him, you are seeing that person. But unfortunately, people do not connect those two things. They do not connect it. Hence, they have all this problem of trying to say that Jesus himself is the Father himself. And then in the same John 14:28, he says, my Father is greater than I. How will somebody say my Father is greater than I if he's the Father himself? So Ganga Prabhu, thank you very much for that deep explanation about that aspect of Jesus not being the Father himself. Thank you.
I'm grateful, Prabhu. Thank you for the contribution also. This is what they call iron sharpening iron. Thank you.
So here it is. Ye have heard how I said unto you, I go away and come again unto you. If you loved me, you will rejoice because I said, I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I. So thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else with any comment, realizations before we let Prabhu go? Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's Pavitra. Yeah, I just wanted to ask Prabhu Ganga. I heard his speech, Ganga Prasad Prabhu. In his statement, he was saying Nigeria, they are preparing to go and help Niger. In Africa, we have Anglophone and Francophone countries. And now the Francophone countries are in trouble. So, and we are preachers. How are we going to settle that problem? Is it through fighting or through preaching to them?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
If it's a mistake, I already made it and I will not want it to continue. But your angle of question is, how do we help? We cannot suggest war. We cannot tell them not to do what they want. But Prabhupada mentioned in many ways of the purpose that these things will always be happening. One nation will rise against another nation. One political party will rise another. You know, he concluded by saying it's demon crazy. Okay, so I just use that we don't have to warm up like they are warming up here. We don't have to warm up that we want to go and attack the Christians, but we have to find out the missiles that we have that will help them. Look at in Ukraine now, the war is there. The devotees are not telling them not to fight. The devotees are not apportioning blame to Russia or Ukraine, but the devotees are giving prasadam. So let them fight. If you have the liver, go and distribute prasad. You are a veteran book distributor. Go and distribute books. That's how we can help them. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, dear devotees, we thank you all for your participation, your patience, and your love as always. And we thank the Supreme Lord, the Parampara, for bringing us together in another new week. On this point, we're going to handle request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered Chancellor, His Grace Ganga Prasad Prabhu. I mean,
Hare Krishna.
you don't get title for no reason. There was one outside in Ghana, Azuma Nelson, who you call the professor. He says, I'm not called professor for no reason. I'm here to teach people how to coach. No, so it's not called chancellor for no reason. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Vanchakapatarubhyasya Kripasnabhyevacha Patitanam Pavanandayo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Nama Anantapati Vaishnava Vrindaki Jai. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.